My name is Jules Buck Jones. I make paintings and drawings inspired by fact and fiction of the natural world. Atlantic versus Pacific. It's a type of drawing that I tend to do every now and then. It's got a totally different process than others. Not so much strict, but there's a pretty straightforward plan. And then the process is just executing that plan. I'm going to take this field guide to fish of the North Atlantic, and I'm going to draw all the fish in that book on this single sheet of paper. There was a second piece, all the fish of the North Pacific, which I did almost a year later. I kind of got burnt out of the Atlantic one. But then when you put these two drawings together, I loved the potential readings that could come into that. You know, maybe in some sort of future world, or maybe not too far, not too distant future, North America, as we know it, is covered in water. And what would happen at the moment when these two oceans met? Oh, so I went down to Costa Rica to kind of draw from observation. Mostly looking for birds or mammals and reptiles to draw. But I was sitting in the jungle, the cloud forest, and kind of waiting for something to kind of cross my path. But it was in the middle of the day and nothing was moving, so I started to draw the forest surrounding. The same language that I'd been using for years to describe scales and feathers and fur, translated pretty directly to describing foliage, tree bark, the canopy, the way light sort of fell on the forest floor. It was all the same marks. So then, it became pretty immediate sort of revelation that this language that I've been developing over time to describe animate subjects was the same language used to describe the places where these things sort of lived and were hiding from me actively at that time. I want there to be an aggressiveness to the work that elicits a response from the viewers, and that response, I think, is stronger if you're reacting to something a little bit less easy to digest. I guess there was a time I wanted things to be pretty strict in terms of what they were depicting, and that fell away and started to allow much more sort of, magical moments, or introducing the supernatural elements into what was at one point sort of just strictly natural. The work kind of turned at that point. It's more fluid, things kind of come and go. Timelines are less linear, more, circular. You have the density and the layering isn't so one-dimensional anymore. You're layering not just sort of depth and space, but also I kind of stack time on top of each other in ways to show the evolution of something. I want a wake-up call to be sort of interwoven in there a little bit.